Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, we're going to take a look at the Soulforge and tell you what I think are the best weapons and indeed the best troops to craft from there. Also going to take a look at this weekly troop, the Book of Witches. Anyway, I drive a lot and I've become a little bit scared of speed bumps, but it's okay, I'm slowly getting over them. Oh yeah. Right, let's take a look at this weekly glory troop, the Book of Witches. Curse 2 random enemies, summon a random mystic. That sounds pretty terrible as first glance. Is that it? Does it have some outrageously good traits? Summon a dark storm at the start of battle, which is purple, which can help it charge up, I suppose. But if somebody else on the other team starts a storm at the start of battle, it's going to override it straight away, making that useless. All enemies lose 2 random skill points, not much, and gain 1 armor when an enemy casts a spell. So not even when an ally casts a spell, so got to wait for the enemy to do something before it gets 1 armor. This is pretty dismal to me. I mean, the summon is good, but curse 2 random enemies. I mean, a weapon like the Wand of Stars, I know, comparing sort of apples to potatoes, but the Wand of Stars can have a cleanse as well as generate potentially tons of mana as well as curse all enemies. And when you curse somebody, a lot of the time it's because you want to curse someone in particular. And it curses 2 random enemies. And there's lots of different ways, lots of different troops to cause curse if you need it. And apart from that, it doesn't do any damage, has 0 chance of an extra turn. Does have a summon. If it wasn't for that summon a random mystic, if it wasn't for the summon, this would be like a 2 out of 10, I think. I'm going to give this a fairly generous 3. Only because of the summon. Yeah, get it anyway though, because it's all extra troops which do add to the game. But I'm going to get it to Mythic level. But I wouldn't do that unless you got like tons of spare glory. Just get 1. It's not very good. I don't think so anyway. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, resources though, you can grab some of these if you have excess glory 2. Gives you extra bits, more gold, more souls, more event keys, and more lovely treasure maps to put in your room of treasure maps you're probably never going to use. Never mind. Right, let's pop to the Soulforge, see what's going on in there. Alright, let's take a look at the weapons then. First up is the Emerald Censer. Now this is available in the Journey event shop at tier 3, I believe it is, and it is exactly the same weapon, so don't go crafting it from here. Save some diamonds. You're probably going to go to tier 3 anyway in that event to help out your guild, so like I say, save some diamonds. But let's see what it does. Does damage to an enemy boosted by purple allies and mystic allies. So the more purple allies that are mystics in your team, the more damage it's going to do. So yeah, not fantastic sounding at first glance, but it's another weapon, so get it anyway. These troops like this, Eye of Zathanos, Shattered Blade, Broken Guard, Dawnbringer, etc. are all in my Soulforge extra video because they're here on a regular basis. If you want to hear about those, go check them out. I'm only going to do the ones that are new here this week. Doomed Cauldron. Ugh, one of the worst doomed weapons for me. Haven't even got this tempered up at level 1 yet, let alone level 10. Give all allies magic plus 1 life, plus 2 per tempering level, then give all other allies 5 mana. If the enemy has a doom, give them 4 more. And for each purple enemy, give 2 magic to all allies. That is like so situational to get the most out of that. To get the magic boost, you need to have purple enemies. They have to have a doom to get the extra mana. And all it does is give some life. Yeah, give life is good, but there's tons of troops that give life to all allies. Life and armor a lot of the time as well, and things like that. So yeah, absolutely one of the worst doomed weapons for me. It's why I haven't even got it upgraded to the first level yet. I'll only upgrade that when I've literally got loads of those purple forge scrolls and I've literally got nothing better to do with them. So that will remain unfinished for a little while, I think. Grasping Grimoire deals damage to an enemy boosted by mystic allies. Then create a mix of 6 yellow and purple gems for each mystic ally. So this uses blue and brown. It generates yellow and purple. But make sure then that if you're going to use this weapon, you've got at least 1 or 2 other troops using yellow or purple in your team to benefit from that lovely mana. There's a few of these like this in this group here. Staff of Otherworlds deal magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by Karakoth allies. Then create a mix of 6 purple and a brown for each Karakoth ally. Again, like the other weapon, but this uses red and yellow, generates purple and brown. Make sure those, at least a couple of those other troops use those colours the weapon generates. And this one does damage to an enemy boosted by Daemon allies. Then creates a mix of 6 red and purple for each Daemon ally. Uses blue and brown, you know the deal. And make sure you got at least a couple of other troops that use red and purple to make the most of all that mana. Tome of Karakoth, kind of the anti-Karakoth weapon in a way. The way this works against the team, uses brown and removes all purple gems, which is the general colour that Karakoth troops like the most. Then deal damage to an enemy boosted by the amount of gems removed. If the enemy is from Karakoth or if the battle is in Karakoth, deal double damage. Old Magus' staff explodes magic +1 purple gems, grants a random status effect to all Karakoth allies, and summon a Karakoth troop. Do like these explodey summony weapons, very very useful indeed. Mana gen, status effects, and a summon. Nice indeed. Wand of Stars. Now this is here every single week, but it's not in my Soulforge extra video because it appeared after I made that video, but an absolutely amazing weapon. Choose one, create 6 elemental stars and bless all allies, which is like a super cleanse, or create 7 umbral stars and curse all enemies. So really good on both those things. If you need that cleanse, you can get it with that first option, and if you want to curse all the enemies, which is really useful sometimes as well, then you have that option as well as the potential to generate absolutely stacks of mana. And it can backfire on you sometimes, but most of the time it really works amazingly well. And have we got any more? No, that looks like that is it. Right, so on to the troops. Go through all these summoning stones ones, especially if you're a newer player. See if there's anybody there you haven't got. And if there is anybody like half decent in there, like you have a quick look at them, then certainly roll the dice and see if you can pick anybody up. That is useful. Who we got here? Anybody particularly outstanding? Oh, Ragnargord is very worth getting. Exploding magic +2 gems of a chosen colour. That's going to be, you know, a chosen colour. So you can look at what's most on the board and cast that, and explode gems is generally going to pick up quite a bit of mana. So yeah, have a look through them. Right, let's take a look at the mythics first. Same deal as before. All the troops that are here all the time on a regular basis are in my Soulforge extra video. I'll put a link to the description to that below. But first up on the mythics is Salamandria. Explode all burning gems, then deal magic-based true damage to the first 2 enemies, boosted by burning gems destroyed. At first glance again, doesn't sound particularly amazing. So you think, okay, but what if there's no burning gems on the board? Then it's not going to do anything apart from that damage. But it's what if there is burning gems on the board, and there's lots of ways that you can make that so, and then she can do significant damage. She's also immune to burning and fairy fire, gains a bonus red from red gem matches, and creates 2 burning gems when matching 4 or more gems. The thing with her is, like, if you can create burning gems, and there's lots of ways to make burning gems, create burning gems, convert red to burning gems with other troops, and it's all a team process with these kind of mythics sometimes, that can be a huge amount of damage. And considering you're exploding those burning gems as well, you're going to get mana back at the same time. So mana back, charging up the team, potentially herself because she uses red, as well as a potentially huge amount of true damage. So yeah, I like her pretty decent. Cantur does magic-based true damage to the first and last enemies, boosted by blue gems. Traits: submerge myself when I take damage, reduce damage from skulls by 25%, and give 4 armor to all blue allies when matching blue gems. So nothing particularly outstanding about that. It's not a fantastic amount of true damage either. I mean, it is boosted by blue gems, but yeah, Cantur. Nothing too great about that crusty crab. Her King Bloodwood does magic-based heavy splash damage to an enemy, boosted by entangled and bleeding enemies, and steal 10 life from all the enemies. Then his spell is boosted by his traits, which is often a nice thing. Bloody Bowels, entangle and inflict bleed on a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. So obviously entangle is good on its own, particularly when it goes on those top couple of troops, stops them being able to give you skull damage. And even if They were able to give you skull damage. It reduces damage from skulls by 33%. So that's pretty decent. But yeah, the spell is boosted by entangled enemies as well, so, and bleeding enemies, so it does get a boost from that. But it's alright. It's alright. It's kind of middle level sort of mythic, if you know what I mean. It's not terrible. Nothing particularly bad about it, but he's not in the particularly great category either. He's just kind of middle ground mythic for me is King Bloodwood. Skadi. Not so great really anymore. Freeze and mana burn the first two enemies. The trouble with this is there's more ways to cleanse. She used to be okay a little while back, but the trouble is now there's so many ways to cleanse from the game, which negates that freeze. Tons of troops are now immune to mana burn, which again kills off that second part of the spell. Knock them to the last position is okay, and the summon is okay, and Queen Mab's a decent troop at the same time. But she's more a supplemental troop, really. Supplemental mythic. Like, create an ice storm at the start of every turn is unfortunately one of the most useful things about her. So, yeah, Skadi. Not that great, unfortunately. And was that it? Skadi, King Bloodwood. Oh, yeah, Cantur and Salamandria. Right, let's take a quick look at the legendaries then, but do usually say to save your diamonds, don't go crafting legendaries. They pop far easier from chests than mythics do. And unless it's somebody absolutely essential like a Tesla or a Yaoguai, like I say, just don't bother crafting these unless you're really desperate for the troop for one reason or another. But Beltane converts blue to green and purple to yellow and gives 1 to 3 random status effects to all allies. And 3 life to all green allies when matching green, as well as bonus greener. Best part of the traits. And we have Essentia. This is one of those troops that actually got better. Like, some troops are just bad and stay bad, and sometimes certain things happen in the game which actually raise how good a certain troop is. Like a good example is like Voice of Orpheus. Used to be a below par mythic until Elementalist class came along. And then Voice of Orpheus, with the way he works, just is a perfect counter to Elementalist. So he became just like so much better, literally overnight. And Essentia kind of got a lot better as well. I mean, the spell is no great shakes. Summon 1 to 3 dragon spirits, and if there was already a dragon spirit in my team, explode 10 gems. But that all dragon allies start with 50% mana is a big deal now. With troops like Stellarix, these cosmic dragons, the gem dragons doing so much damage and being so good in the right team, and being able to get a 50% start with them just with the inclusion of Essentia makes that troop a lot better than before the dragons, like I just mentioned, existed. So yeah, Essentia a lot better these days. And we have Queen Titania. Damage to all enemies, really good. Boosted by red enemies and allies. And if there are 13 or more red gems, gain an extra turn. So still a really, really good troop. And Verify a random enemy on 4 or 5 gem matches works well with her spell. Verified troops take an extra 50% damage from spells, which is going to increase her own damage, for example. So she's still really good. Dark Monolith does damage to the 2 weakest enemies. Deal double damage if I am damaged. So you've got to get damage to get double damage. And that's a lot of saying damage. So yeah, he's alright. Gain 3 magic when an enemy casts a spell. Don't like these things that basically they get more powerful when the enemy does something. Don't want that. You want to kill them before they have a chance to do anything. But anyway, who's my Mythic of the Week? Let's take a look. It's not going to be you, Skadi. King Bloodwood is actually pretty decent, don't mind it. But like I say, very middling. And it's not going to be Cantur. And Salamandria, like I say, can be absolutely pretty devastating in the right team with lots of burning gems on the board. So yeah, Salamandria is going to be my Mythic of the Week. Not sure she's necessarily worth crafting if you're like not got many mythics and you're waiting for some of the more essential ones, but she still is very good. But there it is, Salamandria, my Mythic of the Week. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to bash that like and subscribe button, and I'll be back later on with my Journey team, Underspire team, and more besides, because it is a Manic Monday. But there's a video, I'll be back later. Thanks for watching, catch you again next time. Bye for now.